Your environment is controlling you. Have you ever promised yourself, this month, I'm finally going to get serious about my finances? And you actually meant it. Huh? You started saving, watching what you spent, reading about investing, maybe even exploring ways to build an additional income stream. Then, almost without noticing, everything slowly drifted back to normal. The online shopping returned. The unnecessary subscriptions stayed. The impulse spending came back. The evenings disappeared into scrolling. And one day you looked at your bank account and wondered, what happened? For a long time, I blamed discipline. I thought I just needed to be more motivated, more focused, more committed. But then I realized something uncomfortable. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it was everything around me. And that led me to one of the biggest financial lessons I've ever learned. Your environment is constantly making decisions before you do. And once you understand that, you stop trying to fight yourself and start changing the game around you. Let me explain. Imagine two people with exactly the same financial goal. Both want to save money. Both want to build wealth. Both earn similar incomes, but they live in completely different environments. The first person's phone sends shopping notifications every day. Their friends spend every weekend at expensive restaurants. Their social media feed is filled with luxury lifestyles. Every conversation revolves around buying the next thing. The second person follows creators who teach financial literacy. Their weekends include planning, learning, and building. Their friends discuss business ideas, investments, and career growth. Every day, both people make hundreds of tiny decisions, and those decisions slowly become habits. Fast forward 1 year, their financial lives look completely different. Not because one was smarter, not because one worked harder, because one environment quietly supported progress, while the other quietly sabotaged it. That's what most people miss. Your environment isn't just where you live, it's everything that constantly influences your thinking. The people around you, the conversations you have, the content you consume, the habits you repeat, the apps you open, the notifications you receive, even the physical space where you spend your evenings. Every one of those things is shaping your decisions, whether you notice it or not. Now, here's what's fascinating. Most people try to change their behavior without changing the environment producing that behavior. It's like trying to eat healthier while filling your kitchen with junk food. Eventually, your environment wins. Not because you're weak, because you're human. Behavioral psychologists have known this for years. Human beings respond to cues, and the more often we are exposed to those cues, the more automatic our behavior becomes. Which means if your environment constantly encourages spending, you'll probably spend. If it constantly encourages distraction, you'll probably get distracted. If it constantly encourages growth, you'll probably grow. Now, think about one of the biggest themes in Money Heist. The professor didn't rely on intelligence. He controlled the environment. He anticipated distractions. He removed unnecessary variables. He created systems that made the desired behavior easier because he understood something powerful. Control the environment and you influence the outcome. Financial success works exactly the same way. Most people focus on changing themselves. Very few focus on changing what surrounds them. Let's make this practical. Imagine every evening after work, you're tired, you're mentally drained. You sit on the couch, your phone is beside you. Within seconds, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, messages. 30 minutes disappear, then an hour. Suddenly, there is no time to work on building extra income. But notice what happened. Nobody forced you. Your environment made the decision easy. Now imagine something different. You come home, your phone stays in another room. Your notebook is already on the desk. Your laptop opens directly to the work you're building. Your workspace is clean. Your schedule already tells you what to do. Same person, different environment, different outcome. That's why successful people often appear incredibly disciplined. Sometimes they are simply operating inside environments that make good decisions easier. Now, here's another mistake people make. They think environment only means people. It doesn't. Digital environments matter just as much. Ask yourself honestly, what kind of financial conversations are happening inside your social media feed? Are you constantly consuming entertainment, drama, celebrity gossip, or are you regularly learning about money, investing, business, career growth, and income producing assets? Because whether you realize it or not, your feed becomes your classroom. If you consume distraction every day, don't be surprised when your attention becomes distracted. When you consume education consistently, don't be surprised when your thinking begins to change. This is why I often say, before you build better income, build a better information environment. Because your mind compounds whatever you repeatedly feed it. There's another interesting example from the bear. The kitchen is chaotic. The orders keep coming. Pressure keeps increasing. But the restaurants that succeed aren't the ones with the most talented chefs. They're the ones with the best systems. Everything has a place. Everyone knows their role. The environment supports execution. Financial life isn't very different. Chaos creates reactive decisions. Structure creates consistent decisions. Now, let's talk about something even more subtle. Your language is part of your environment too. Listen to how people talk about money. I'll never be wealthy. Rich people are just lucky. Investing is gambling. I don't have time. Those phrases sound harmless, but repeat them often enough and they become beliefs. Beliefs become actions. Actions become results. That's why changing your environment also means changing the conversations you repeatedly hear. Now, here's something I wish someone had told me years ago. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You usually fall to the level of your environment. That's why someone can be incredibly motivated on January 1st and completely lose momentum by February. The goal never disappeared. The environment slowly pulled them back. Which is why systems matter more than motivation. This is one of the reasons why I built the 3C method the way I did. Not around endless motivation, around repeatable environments. Clarity creates an environment where you always know the next step. Control creates an environment where emotions make fewer decisions. Consistency creates an environment where progress compounds almost automatically. Notice something. None of those depends on waking up inspired. They depend on design, because design beats willpower every single time. So if you're trying to improve your finances, don't just ask, how can I become more disciplined? Ask something better. What in my environment is making poor decisions easy? Maybe it's the notifications. Maybe it's the people. Maybe it's the content. Maybe it's the clutter. Maybe it's the lack of structure after work. Find the friction, then remove it. Because progress becomes surprisingly easy when the right behaviors become the easiest behaviors. And here's the beautiful part: small environmental changes create surprisingly large results. One less distraction, one better habit, one financial book, one planned evening, one productive conversation, one income producing skill. Those tiny adjustments compound, just like investments do. Eventually, your environment starts working for you instead of against. So, if you've been feeling stuck, don't immediately assume the problem is your discipline. Take a closer look around you, because the life you're building tomorrow is heavily influenced by the environment you're accepting today. And the moment you start designing that environment intentionally, your decisions become easier, your habits become stronger, your progress becomes faster. Not because you suddenly became a different person, but because you finally stopped expecting discipline to fight an environment that was pulling you in the opposite direction. Because in the end, the environment is always shaping you. The only question is, are you shaping it first?